The past 24 hours have not been kind to Donald Trump, and I think we're starting to see his stress show itself physically. Donald Trump is now confronted with the fact that Vice President Harris continues to surge in the polls. Prediction markets and predictive models are now showing Kamala Harris increase her chances of winning the election, and Vice President Kamala Harris continues to get even more endorsements from key groups of former Trump supporters and voters like former Republicans who are choosing democracy over Trump and Maga. First, let me just say my name is Brett Meiselas, here reporting at the MeidasTouch Network. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. You may think you are and you may actually not be. So go and check, and if you are subscribed, hit the notification bell. You will get alerted every time we post a new video. Okay, let's get right into it. I want to show these pictures from our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, that he posted. This was Donald Trump in North Carolina yesterday, and you could see Donald Trump is looking rough, folks. Here's one photo, and here is another photo where Ron Filipkowski says maybe this is a better angle for him. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, Ron. I know you're just being sarcastic. I think he's stressed because he's starting to see what we are seeing. Like even Nate Silver, whose model has been fairly biased against Vice President Kamala Harris this whole time. Nate Silver's forecast now has Kamala Harris up with a 55% chance of winning over Donald Trump's 45%. This is Kamala Harris's highest marks since August 16. You could see the graph, how these lines have crossed and how Harris has pulled ahead in Nate Silver's predictions. Now we're looking at Donald Trump's speech yesterday, where he was speaking in North Carolina, and Donald Trump can't seem to land a coherent message at all. He is completely rattled. I think the debate is still in his head, and he does not even know what to say when he is speaking at these events. When he's supposed to be speaking about the economy or whatever, he's speaking about Kamala Harris's past working at McDonald's, and he's fixated on the fact that she worked at McDonald's, and he wants to say that she's lying about it. I mean, watch how deranged this is.
Even something like she worked very long and hard hours over French fries at McDonald's. She'd never worked at McDonald's. It was a fake story. It was a fake story. The press now refuses to write it because it's so, there's a very simple one. She said she worked at McDonald's and she didn't. Not highly sophisticated, not complicated. It was a lie. She never worked at McDonald's over the hot French fries. I think I'm going to a McDonald's in 2 weeks, actually, and I'm going to work the French fries because I will have worked longer and harder at McDonald's than she did if I do that.
I'm not sure how Donald Trump thinks that is going to win him any votes. Like, I'm sorry, Donald, that she did not put her McDonald's experience on her resume to become a prosecutor, because that would not be normal. But Vice President Kamala Harris gave this incredible interview on MSNBC last night on Stephanie Ruhl's show, where she was asked about this. Here's what she had to say.
Because your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working at a McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job.
But it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes.
Okay, for a small period of time. But then let me ask about a big job.
But to your point, if you don't mind, before you get to the big job, there's a part of the reason I even talk about having worked at McDonald's is because there are people who work at McDonald's in our country who are trying to raise a family. I worked there as a student. I was a kid who worked there trying to raise families and pay rent on that. And I think part of the difference between me and my opponent includes our perspective on the needs of the American people and what our responsibility then is to meet those needs.
By the way, even Fox is like not handling all of this well. They don't know what to do. And when you turn on Fox, it's almost like they look like North Korean propaganda now. Like, look at this photo of their host next to an actual North Korean propagandist, and the resemblance is absolutely uncanny. Donald Trump has also been hit in the past 24 or 48 hours with a barrage of brutal new attack ads, like this brilliant ad from the Harris campaign. Check it out.
Eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets. This is what's happening in our country.
While Trump is focused on that, Kamala Harris is focused on you.
It is important that we move forward and address the needs of the American people, address the housing shortage, support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. And I pledge to you that I will.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
And George Conway's new group is releasing incredibly powerful ads of Donald Trump's victims speaking out, like this one.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. He kept coming back at me. I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified. And thank goodness the butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, you know we're going to have an affair, don't you? And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter. We cannot elect this man as president.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And as you look in Congress, it even seems like these MAGA Congress people are continuing to absolutely lose their mind and kind of throw in the towel. I mean, listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene here saying that Republican voters are fed up with the Republican Party.
And as a matter of fact, most Republican voters are fed up with the weakless, feckless, nothing from Republicans in Congress. And we are not giving people anything to vote for.
And as these MAGA Republicans in Congress get more desperate, they're just saying even more despicable, reprehensible things. Like, I'm sure you've seen this by Representative Clay Higgins, one of the creepiest members of Congress, where he said yesterday, LOL, these Haitians are wild, eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cult slapstick gangsters, but damned if they don't feel all sophisticated now, filing charges against our president and VP. All of these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country before January 20th. How disgusting of Clay Higgins to attack the legal Haitian migrants in our country. And I'm sorry, Clay Higgins, Donald Trump is not president, JD Vance is not vice president, and they will never step foot in the Oval Office. That is absolutely despicable and beneath the Congress of the United States of America. Meanwhile, Congress passed the bill to prevent a government shutdown. We have to go through the same song and dance with this incompetent House leadership from the Republican Party every few months now. Donald Trump tried to shut down the government, and Speaker Mike Johnson ultimately had to defy Trump while first humoring his attempts to shut down the government to try to help his presidential aspirations. Mike Johnson had to hold this pathetic press conference, basically just directed at a audience of one, Donald Trump, to tell him, I promise I'm not defying you, Donald. I promise. Just watch how pathetic this is.
Front row. Mr. Speaker, have you spoken with former President Trump about this CR specifically, and has he approved it, given that he said he doesn't want a CR without the same background?
Yeah, no, what he was saying last week is the exact same thing that I was saying. He and I have been on exactly the same page. I saw a headline, I'm defying Trump. I'm not defying President Trump. I've spoken with him at great length, and he is very frustrated about the situation. His great concern is election security, and it is mine as well. It is all of ours. We are really seriously concerned about this, and we got to do everything that we can to ensure it. Congress, we passed the SAVE Act in the summer, and it's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk collecting dust. That is maddening to us. He understands fully, President Trump understands the current dilemma and the situation that we're in, and so there's no daylight between us, and I keep him apprised all the time of everything that's happening because he is our nominee for president, and he's going to be the next president. So we'll continue working closely together. I'm not defying President Trump. We're getting our job done, and I think he understands that. So thank you all. Appreciate the time.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris continues to rack up some pretty incredible endorsements. Like just yesterday, Nikki Haley's Michigan leadership team said that they are endorsing Kamala Harris. As a reminder, Nikki Haley won 300,000 votes in the Republican primary earlier this year. In writing their op-ed as to why they are endorsing Kamala Harris, they wrote, quote, Trump builds up himself by tearing down America and Americans. Just last week, during a speech that was supposed to be be about battling anti-Semitism, the former president said that Jewish people would have, quote, a lot to do with the reason he may not win in November. During his televised debate with the vice president, Trump said Haitian immigrants living in Ohio were, quote, eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. America deserves better. Well said, and thank you for choosing country over party. And I think we're seeing Republican voters all around the country come to the same conclusion, that Donald Trump is absolutely unfit to step back in the Oval Office. Meanwhile, while Donald Trump pushes these voters away, Vice President Kamala Harris is embracing them. She is holding events with them. She is reaching out to them. Here is Pennsylvania GOP voters speaking about the outreach that they've seen from the Kamala Harris campaign. This is incredible.
The Republicans for Harris event, what do you make of the Harris campaign trying to be a bit more bipartisan in their approach?
I like that if they're genuine about it and listening to both sides and hearing what the people really want. And there's a lot of really important issues out there.
You know, I've never been a part of something like this where the opposite party is coming in and saying, yeah, man, we're gonna do a little event for you. We're gonna make you feel welcome. We're gonna hear you out. And I'm really happy that the Harris campaign is reaching out to Republicans like myself.
Yesterday, while speaking at the Economic Club of Pittsburgh, Vice President Harris made it clear that she will be a president for all Americans. She was saying with her economic plans that she would not be constrained by ideology. She just wants to seek practical solutions to problems. Absolutely love this. Check it out.
And I promise you, I will be pragmatic in my approach. I will engage in what Franklin Roosevelt called bold, persistent experimentation. Because I believe we shouldn't be constrained by ideology and instead should seek practical solutions to problems, realistic assessments of what is working and what is not, applying metrics to our analysis, applying facts to our analysis, and stay focused then not only on the crises at hand, but on our big goals, on what's best for America over the long term. And part of being pragmatic means taking good ideas from wherever they come.
And you know that Donald Trump is stewing over this comment that Vice President Kamala Harris made, where she called Donald Trump one of the biggest losers ever on manufacturing.
Now look, my opponent, Donald Trump, well, he makes big promises on manufacturing. Just yesterday, he went out and promised to bring back manufacturing jobs. And if that sounds familiar, it should. In 2016, he went out and made that very same promise about the Carrier plant in Indianapolis. You'll remember, Carrier then offshored hundreds of jobs to Mexico under his watch. And it wasn't just there. On Trump's watch, offshoring went up and manufacturing jobs went down across our country and across our economy. All told, almost 200,000 manufacturing jobs were lost during his presidency, starting before the pandemic hit, making Trump one of the biggest losers ever on manufacturing.
I want to show you more from this incredible interview with Vice President Harris and Stephanie Ruhle from last night, where Vice President Harris said that she will never apologize for going after corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. Check this out.
Just to be very frank, I am never going to apologize for going after companies and corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. And as Attorney General, I saw this happen. In the midst of an emergency, whether it be an extreme weather event or even the pandemic, we saw it, where those few companies, not the majority, not most, but those few companies that would take advantage of the desperation of people and jack up prices. Yeah, I'm going to go after them. Yes, I'm going to go after them. And that is part of a much more comprehensive plan on what we can do to bring down the cost of living, including housing, including the everyday needs of the American people.
Vice President Harris also spoke about her plan to cut taxes for 100 million Americans and lower costs for people. Check this out.
So, first of all, when it relates to anybody making less than $400,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up. And in fact, under my plan, taxes for 100 million Americans will actually be cut, including $6,000 a year for young couples for the first year of their child's life in a tax cut, a tax credit, essentially, by expansion of the child tax credit. And why is that? Because during the first year of a young couple, of a person's child's life, they're going to need help buying a crib, buying a car seat. And we all benefit when they're actually able to do what they naturally want to do to take care of their child.
Mark Cuban has been hitting the TV circuit, highlighting Vice President Harris's economic agenda. He has strongly endorsed her and her policy visions for the future. Here he is talking about it on MSNBC.
Well, the big question, obviously, is the economy. And, you know, the people on the right, they're always talking about being a Marxist or a communist, which is ridiculous. And she really put that to bed today. She was very clear that she was going to partner with business. She was going to give business incentives to grow, that she respected and supported every size business from small to large. And that really the future of our country militarily, economically, is going to be driven by new technologies that she understands and that she supports. It's just just so different from what Donald Trump is doing. And I think it's a real positive for the entire business community.
And finally, this is one of the most fascinating clips that I've seen in a long time. This was on Alex Wagner Tonight on MSNBC, and they did a focus group asking the audience who they were going to vote for and asking who they thought would win the election. Watch what happened.
We are back live in Michigan. Despite the tight poll numbers in the state, the voters I spoke with yesterday in Saginaw seem to think that this race already has a clear and likely winner.
Who here thinks Kamala Harris is going to win the election? Who here thinks Donald Trump's going to win the election? No one? Interesting.
But whether or not that sentiment is actually a good thing for the Harris-Walz campaign is very much up for debate.
The results there are absolutely wild, and I think it speaks to the energy that is there on the ground. But that being said, we must not let any of this information get us complacent. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you and your family are registered to vote. You are the ones who could save our democracy. Remember, it is up to you. Share these messages far and wide. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Every little bit helps. Hey, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brett Meiselas. I'm going to be here with some more reports throughout the day. I'll see you in a bit.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.